Hey, true believers. Today we're going over G.I. Joe Origins issue 10. And I was really looking forward to reading this book, but sadly there was some things that just didn't jive with me. However, I do want to say first and foremost that this comic book is one of the books that was donated to us for the club. So this will be going into one of our grab bags. And whoever wins this, I hope you enjoy it a lot more than I did. So for the people that donated these comics, thank you so much. The club appreciates you more than words can say. Now with that said, let's go ahead and dive into this book. I know nothing about the Origins line. I did kind of look at the synopsis of the last issue because I didn't quite understand if this book took place in America or where is it. And so from what I understand, actually, you know what? I forgot this was here. Let's just click this here, and you can kind of read it at your convenience. You can pause it. The writer is Larry Hama. The art is Andrea Muti, I believe is how you pronounce it. John Alderink is the inks. Jay Brown's colors. Robbie Robbins did the lettering. And there's everyone else working on the book. So with that synopsis set where you guys can read it at your convenience, terrorists have come to London. G.I. Joe has suspected them, and they've chased them down. And one thing right off the bat that kind of bugged me is, I mean, look at that dialogue. Oh my God. And then it's tiny. I mean, usually when you open a book, the dialogue, you can kind of see it right off the bat, but you have to kind of, or maybe just because I'm starting to get to up that age. Either or. Now, when I was talking about in the promo that I did, and also here at the beginning, I'm going to flat out say I don't like the art. I've read some of the other books from IDW, G.I. Joe books that Larry Hama's penned, and the artwork was relatively good. But here, I mean, just looking at Hawk and Duke, he looks like Boomhauer from frickin' King of the Hill, and Hawk looks like Dell. I just mean, look at how lanky everybody is. And then Scarlet, she looks kind of like a, what's her name? Gadget from Rescue Rangers, the squirrel tinkerer chick. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. You're thinking, okay, well maybe because it's a far away establishing shot, and you get closer, and it feels like the artwork just gets worse. Now, I haven't really drawn in years, don't get me wrong. But I have read through many times in my childhood and tried to emulate how to draw the Marvel way, how to make things dynamic. And let me kind of explain here with this panel. This is an embassy. G.I. Joes are getting ready to lock and load from all different quadrants of this building. However, a diplomat comes in and basically says, you can't use firearms because we want to make sure that this place is ready for photo ops right after you're finished. And everyone's like, you're joking, right? But Hawk's like, you know what? He has the clearance from higher up. He can say what he wants. And that kind of reminded me of Aliens when they go into the hive and they realize that the hive has those reactor leaks, so they can't use their plasma rifles. And I love how, is it Hudson? He says, well, how are we supposed to fight them? Or how are we supposed to, fight them? Use foul language or bad language or something like that. But they find their ways. The diplomat here is like, tell me that soldier isn't carrying a sword. He's not going to behead anybody, is it? Very bad press, that. And right here, now kind of going back as we go around the mulberry bush here. You see Snake Eyes kind of make this slashing thing, and Duke says he wants to know if diagonal bisection is permissible. That's funny, but I think it would have been better to do like a Dutch angle of Snake Eyes either brandishing his sword and or just something, but this full-on just frontal, oh, that sounds bad, this full frontal Snake Eyes just is very boring and flat. And that's what kind of gets me about this whole thing. And I don't know, the characters just look horrible. Like I think back to the 80s Marvel comics of G.I. Joes, and even though that was done with traditional pens and inks and colors, etc., so forth. It's 20,000 times better than this. Like, this book came out, let's take a look. This book came out in 2009. So at this point, digital art, 3D models have come a long way. And don't get me wrong, 3D models can be used here or there. But I mean, look at this. Look at how everybody just looks like caricatures. It's terrible. And then here, what is this guy's name? God, it's not Roadhouse or Roadblock. His name's like Heavy Duty or something like that. Names escape me. But he's talking about how here in the back they're going to use this 9-pound sledgehammer to take down this blast door, which I think is kind of ridiculous, but I kind of get. It would have made more sense to do a front shot of him, kind of Dutch angled, him holding that sledgehammer over his shoulder, maybe the head of the sledgehammer shining in the sun, and he has like this cocky grin on his face and just saying, I've got a 9-pound sledgehammer, Duke. But instead we get this faraway shot, and they look like clay people. I think the only time that the artwork gets well, and then let's go here. Look. He's bashing down the hammer, the steel door, which you would think no normal human can do that, but this is supposed to be G.I. Joe. That's why they're brought in for these type of things. And you'd want to see an up close of this, but we're right back to this faraway shot, and he's just kind of like, oh, look at me, I banged it down. This should have been a dynamic panel of him knocking that sumbitch down. That's just my opinion. Here, let me show you. Coming up here, the artwork actually kind of improves. He takes out, like after they take down the door, see right here. They come in, take down one of the dudes with the door, the other guy whack right across the face, and you're thinking, okay, yeah. And then even Scarlet brandishing her shurikens. That's not bad. That I will give merits for. Very awesome stuff right there. But then we get the snake eyes dropping out of the ceiling. That should not have been a front panel. Should not have been a front panel. Should not have been a front panel. Those should have all, like if you go back, crap, I can't remember the issue number off the top of my head, but it's essentially the first appearance of Storm Shadow from Marvel Comics G.I. Joe. The whole book is silent. There's no words. Everything is expressed through the paneling and Larry Hama's direction. And the artwork, oh my God, it like there's at the end, Storm Shadow turns around to sling his katana at Scarlet, and she winches, she closes her eyes, but then she opens them and smiles and sees that Snake Eyes caught the blade. Everything done dynamically, and then they take off on a Cobra jetpack together. Storm Shadow left standing, realizing that he just fought his best friend / brother. Go back and read it. I've done a review on it. I'll put a card for it somewhere here in all the doohickeys at the top that you click for thingamajigs. But here, look at this. This is so bad. Everything is front paneled. It's so boring. When you see Snake Eyes, you want to see him up close and personal, just ripping through things, and this is not that. Now, again, the story, in and of itself, is awesome. Now, I feel that the artist here does a lot better when you get up and close and personal. Like, again, throwing this hammer, good stuff. But then you pull back out, and it gets boring again. Now, again, these are my opinions. Feel free to make fun of me as you wish. But if you cut out the flatness of the panels and you just read the story, it's entertaining. There's a lot of back and forth to show that the Joes are brothers in arms and they're able to really give each other flack. Some people in this book kind of have a reluctance towards Hawk, because I think this is supposed to be rebooted. So everything that you read from the Marvel generation got rebooted when it went over to IDW's, from what I understand. So this is supposed to be the early years, and everyone doesn't really trust Hawk from what I've read, because he's kind of like the liaison between the Joes and the top brass and the bureaucrats. And then Duke, he's the one that has to get into the muck with everybody. And again, going back to the artwork, look at this. Kind of get up close, you get those silhouettes, knife going in this dude's back. Absolutely fantastic. And in this embassy, kind of going back to story again, people have been taken hostage. And then there's a, what do you call it? The terrorists have this failsafe, essentially, and it's basically a nuclear explosive that's supposed to have a higher yield than the one that was used on Hiroshima, which would basically take out this entire town. And so that's kind of what the ending of the book is how in the hell are we going to disarm this thing? And there's some twists and turns, there's some twists. And I highly, highly recommend at least reading it. Is this a book that you want to keep in your collection? Story, Larry Hama, I'd say yes. Artwork-wise, I don't know. I thought about, well, maybe if I go back and reread, but then I saw that the artist, this, what is their name again? I swear sometimes I have the memory of an ant. Andrea Muti. I'm not saying they're a bad artist. They just really need to refine their craft. Again, I never try to bash artists because they're here drawing comics, writing comics. But I will bash a bad issue. And so I'm hoping that since 2009, I'll have to see if I can find anything else by this artist that they've refined their craft. And I'm hoping so, because that's always what you want to do is whenever you start somewhere, you want to work upwards. So maybe this was just a starting place, but it just, the artwork's what kind of made it hard for me to get entirely through this book. But because it was Larry Hama and the story was engaging, and because he is a vet and when he gives some realistic feelings of military in the book, it keeps you engaged. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, guys, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that Yo Joe bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love hearing y'all's thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.